Welcome. This recording is to help you with your first Geometry B portfolio, which is the blueprint portfolio for Unit 2. So we're going to work with blueprints, with graphing, with drawing. So let's go ahead and get started. There are a number of pieces or parts to this. If you look at the first slide on your lesson, one of the things is there's a points on the coordinate plane examples video from Khan Academy. So you're going to do a video summary. So let's change colors here. So we want to make sure we include that. A summary of the video. It should be at least 4 sentences long. So a video summary. Okay, that's item number 1. Item number 2, it asks you on the same slide, same slide of the lesson, to give applications. That is, how can something be used in the real world? Applications of coordinates, of coordinate systems. We use all kinds of coordinate systems. GPS is probably the best known, but we use them on maps. We use it in chess. We use it in archaeology. When we have a dig site, we want to locate where something is on the dig site. Addresses are a kind of coordinate system as well. So give an application of a coordinate system, and again, about 4 sentences constitutes a paragraph. Okay. The third item is all surrounding something called a blueprint. Now, blueprint is a term that's actually gone out of favor. I actually took some architectural classes back in the 1980s, and we had this big, wide, it almost looked like a wide format printer does nowadays, big wide machine. And what it was is you would do your drawing on a piece of paper. You do your floor plan, your architectural drawing, and then you would place over the top of that some vellum. So basically, we would call it nowadays tracing paper, paper that light could shine through. And we would carefully reproduce our drawing on the vellum, on the tracing paper. And then we place that vellum over some blueprint paper. Blueprint paper basically just had blue ink over the whole thing. It came out, when you first got it, it was just dark blue, like somebody had spilled ink all over it. And you would place your blueprint, your vellum over the top of that, and you'd carefully feed it into the machine, and it would run through. What happened is that blue ink was UV responsive, so any spot that ultraviolet light shone on turned white. And so everywhere that was not drawn on your vellum would turn white. And so that's why it's called blueprint, because the ink was always blue. And what was left after you ran it through was a very nice copy of your drawing. And it was a way to produce multiple copies. We don't do that anymore. We print things now. But that's kind of the history, or the idea behind the word blueprint. We just now call them floor plans or architectural drawings, and they're all done on computer. And if you want a copy, you print it out on a wide format printer. That's where that comes from. So we're going to do a house design, and we're not going to do a whole house. The idea of a blueprint or a floor plan is we're taking a view as if we're looking at it from above. Okay, so we're gonna take a house, right? We're gonna cut through the house at about 4 feet above the floor of the ground level and lift the top half of the house and set it aside. Then we're going to look down on it. It's not a 3D drawing, it's a 2D drawing. All right, and we're going to draw a picture of what our room looks like with that. So I'm going to start just by designing a room, a single room. Okay, I'm going to make my single room, let's make it 12 feet wide, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. And let's make it 16 feet long. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. Okay. And kind of mark out the corners here. All right. And I'm going to use my straight edge. Now you can do this. I recommend using graph paper to do this assignment. You can do it. I'm using Autodesk Sketchbook. It is a free program that you can use on your computer. It's kind of nice. If you want to go that route, you can, but it works perfectly fine on a piece of graph paper. Okay, and what I'm doing is I'm drawing the walls. Now, as you can imagine, if we cut a house and took the top off and looked at it from above, the walls would not really be represented just by straight lines, because walls have thickness. And a good rule of thumb is most houses are constructed with 2x6 frame construction on the exterior walls, and they're framed with 2x4 construction on the interior walls. So a good rule of thumb is that the exterior walls, after you do the 2x6 frame and plywood siding or CDX, I think it's called now. It used to be plywood. Things have changed. Construction materials have changed since I took architecture. And then drywall and other things that add to the thickness of the wall. So you might say that a wall is an exterior wall probably is about 10 inches thick, and an interior wall is about 6 inches thick, or half a foot, okay? Or maybe a little bit thinner than that, but that's a good rule of thumb. Now, one of the things we need for our drawing is our scale. So I'm going to indicate the scale, okay? And my scale here, and I recommend using this scale. So 1 unit equals 1 foot. Okay? And rather than saying foot or FT, an architect typically will use a hatch mark, or a carpenter will use a hatch mark to represent foot. If you want to represent inches, we do double. So that's 1 foot. 1 unit equals 1 foot. Now, if a wall is half a foot thick, there are 6 inches thick. 6 out of 12 is half, right? And so the exterior walls are going to be about 2/3 of a foot, and the interior walls are going to be about a half a foot wide. So I'm going to draw this left wall as an exterior wall. Okay, and I'm going to extend it past, because this is a wall on the house, not just the room. Okay, and this north wall here, I'm also going to do as an exterior wall, about 2/3 of a foot thick. Okay, and the interior wall's only about half a foot, so as well as I can, line it up with half a foot. Okay, and vice versa. Here we go. Half a foot. All right. Oh, and I extended a little bit too long. Okay, there we go. And I'm going to just add a few more lines here. So you can see now that my walls have thickness. All right, they're not just a single line. They are 2 lines to represent the thickness of the wall. Okay, now every good room, if it's a bedroom, I'm doing a bedroom, that's the most common here and the easiest to draw. Every good room has a closet, so I'm going to put in my closet, and I'm going to put in a door and so forth and so on. So my closet, let's put a closet against the back wall. I'm going to make my closet 3 feet deep, and 2, 4, 6, 8 feet wide. 2, 4, 6, 8 feet wide. Okay, and so let's draw our closet here. Now notice I don't have any openings right now. That we're going to add in a little later. Keep an eraser handy. It's really important to have a good eraser. And it's probably a good idea to do this in pencil. All architectural drawings are done either on the computer where you can easily erase, or on paper with a pencil. because erasing is part of architectural drawing. Okay, and let's go ahead and grab our eraser here and do some erasing. There we go. Okay, get rid of that dot too. Okay. All right. All right, so now I want to give my closet door an opening here. The doors are, probably about 3 feet. I'm just going to do a sliding door. We can do a pocket door. We can do a sliding door. We can do an accordion style door. I'm going to do a sliding door. So I'm going to come over about 6 inches and make my opening here. Okay. And about 6 inches out, so about half a foot, 6 inches out. Okay, and we're going to erase the wall out of the middle here. I used to do this just for the fun of it. Can you imagine sitting around designing houses for fun? Kind of thinking about what would it be like to live in this house. Some of them were really fancy and included some ideas that were a lot of fun. Okay, and the sliding door basically looks like this, though. Now, I'm not going to draw, if you want to be super detailed about it, you can draw the sliding doors with thickness, but we're not being that detailed. So I'm going to do a line that extends just a little bit past the middle of the closet. Another line that extends just about past the middle from the right side. And that's a good representation of our sliding closet door. All right. And so here's our room. Our room needs an entrance, right? We need a way to get into our room. So let's include a door. Interior doors can be 3 feet, that's fairly wide, can be 32 inches, which is about 2 2/3 feet. That's actually more common. If you live in a house with someone with a wheelchair and you want accessibility, you probably should be putting 4-foot doors in. Most assisted living centers and such have 4-foot doors for ease of access with wide wheelchairs and stuff like that. For simplicity, I'm going to make mine 3 feet wide here. So I'm going to come out 6 inches from the wall. And I'm going to put a end here and 1, 2, 3 feet. Okay. Now, when back in the day when we did this by hand on paper, we used what we called a stencil. A stencil was a piece of plastic that you would put over it, and it would have cutouts, and you'd use the cutouts to draw shapes. I don't have a stencil, but what I do have is a compass. So I'm going to have the door open in towards the wall. And the way we depict a door in an architectural drawing is like this. We show the path over which the door swings. And then we draw the door partly open so that it's definitely indicating a door. Okay, so we can see what direction, where we want to put the hinge, and we generally want the door to open in towards the wall so that you can put a strike plate or something there, and so that you're not opening the door into somebody hopefully that's standing on the other side. All right, so here's our room. Now we need to put some furniture in it. Okay, so we've got our scale, we've got our room. Okay. Oh, and there's another calculation we need to do for perimeter and area. So let me do some labeling here. The room we said was 2, 4, 6, I think it was 16 feet by 12 feet. So let's calculate the perimeter. The perimeter is 2 times 16 plus 2 times 12, which is 32 plus 24, which is 56 feet. The area is 12 times 16. To do that in my head, I think 10 times 16, which is 160, plus 2 times 16, which is 32. So 160 plus 32 is 192. And here we're going to have to do the FT because it's feet squared. It's area. Okay? All right, so that's another thing, another requirement. Now we need 3 furniture pieces here. Okay, well, what is the primary piece of furniture in a bed? I would say in a bedroom, I would say the bed. And so I'm just going to do a Google search here. Okay. And I'm not going to show it, but you can do a Google search too. And I'm going to type bed dimensions. It'll give you an idea for the different sizes of beds. And I'm going to do a twin extra long. That's a good adult size bed for a single person. And it's the bed that I bought for my son who is 5. he doesn't fill it out yet, but he's going to have it for a few years. And my daughter who's 16. So twin extra long. It's 38 inches by 80 inches. So here's a little calculation we need to do, because remember our dimensions are in feet. 30 inches by 80 inches is our bed. So that is 30 divided by 12. Okay, so I'm just going to do a quick calculation using a calculator. You can use Desmos. 30 divided 12. 30 divided by 12 is 2.5, so 2.5 feet. And then 80 inches, so I'm going to do 80 divided by 12. And that is 6.666 forever, or 6 2/3. So 6 2/3 foot. Okay, and I know that's mixing things a little bit, but that's the size of the bed. All right, so let's go ahead and put the bed in. I'm going to put the bed in against this wall. It's a fairly small room. I probably don't have enough room to, well, then if I want a desk and everything, I'm going to put it up against the wall. Actually, I think it'll fit because it's 2.5 feet. 1, 2.5 feet. Yeah. So 30 inches. So 2.5 feet, the center of this wall, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if I put it 2 feet out from the wall and 2.5 feet by 6 2/3, 2, 4, 6 2/3. Actually, that'll work quite nicely here. Okay, so now I'm going to draw my bed. Make sure to use a straight edge. Okay, it's kind of a long, skinny bed. It's a twin extra long. If you want, probably the most popular bed size is a queen. I bet we could even fit a queen size mattress in here. Okay. And here we go. But have fun with this. Imagine yourself living in this room. What would you like? What would you like it to look like? Now, a couple of things I'm going to add to it. I'm going to add some sheets and blankets folded down. Okay. And here we go. Let's do one more thing here. Okay, and like that. And I'll put a pillow on the bed. All right, so it's hopefully fairly clear that you've got a bed. You might even draw what a headboard and a footboard looks like. Okay. And so my bed, now it asked us to define the polygons as well. So my bed is a rectangle. It's also a parallelogram. Okay, it qualifies as a parallelogram. It has two sets of congruent sides. And 90-degree angles. Okay? All right, so that's our bed. Now let's put another, we need to put 3 pieces of furniture in here. So I'm going to go to green here. Let's put a well, we need a dresser, right? A dresser for clothing and stuff like that. Typically, dressers are about 5 feet wide and about 2 feet deep, or 1.5 feet. If I Google dresser dimensions, okay, dresser dimensions, 60 inches wide, that's 5 feet, 20 inches deep, that's 1 1/3 feet deep, right, and 30 inches tall. The height doesn't matter in our drawing here. Okay, so I'm going to put the dresser against this far wall here. So 1 and we said 2/3 feet, right? And 5 feet 2, 4, 5 feet wide here. Okay, and so let's draw our dresser. All right. Okay, and have it out from the wall a little bit. You need some room for some plugs and things. I might even do this. I might even draw one of the drawers partway open. Okay, with a handle. And draw the handle on there. I might draw some books. Okay, on top of it. Okay, so let's talk about the dresser. The dresser is 1 2/3 feet by 5 feet. Okay, it is a rectangle because it has 2 sets of congruent sides and 90-degree angles. Okay. All right, one more piece of furniture we need. All right, and I think I'm going to do a nightstand. Now my nightstand, I want to do something unique. So my nightstand is going to be about 2 feet wide. Okay, but it's going to be kind of an octagon. So I'm going to hand sketch this. Back up here a little bit. I've got that in the wrong place. There we go. That's about like it. Okay, and I'm going to put a lamp on it. There we go. Okay. And so my nightstand is 2 feet by 2 feet, and it is an octagon. And it's a regular octagon. And the reason it is it has 8 sides, 8 congruent sides, and 8 congruent angles. Okay, so there's a bit of a discussion there. Now you can be creative and add more to your drawings. You might be tempted to add windows. This is kind of a bleak room with no outdoor light. So let's add some windows here. I'm going to add a big window in this end outside wall. How about right here? Okay, and I'm going to make it a 2 for 6-foot window, nice big window. Okay. And basically we just draw a window by putting the framing or the casing on the window, and then drawing the panes. Now you might do, we live in Idaho, so all windows pretty much are double pane. But you can draw a double pane or you can draw a single pane. But this is the way we represent a window in an architectural floor plan. Okay. So hopefully that helps. I think that's pretty much everything. So again, we've got points on the coordinate plane examples, video that you watched. You write a paragraph on that, 4 sentences. Write a paragraph on real-world applications, 4 sentences. And then this blueprint activity where you design a room. It can be any room. It can be a bathroom. It can be a living room, a dining room, a kitchen. Be creative. It needs to have a scale. It needs to have perimeter and area calculated. It needs to have 3 furniture pieces. You need to classify and explain the classification of the polygons that form the furniture pieces. And then, we haven't talked about this, you need a paragraph explaining the strengths and weaknesses of your floor plan. So my room is fairly small. I might want to add a desk to my room. My closet is fairly deep. I might want to change that closet instead of a sliding door model, maybe into a walk-in closet. That might be fun. I might want to add some extra windows, some carpets, some floor rugs. There's all kinds of ideas that I might think to add. So hopefully that was helpful.